Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho. It is a Friday, the 20th day of February, the final day of the month, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Let's get to the stories that matter today. Senate President Cheese Escudero has proposed starting the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte on July 30. That means it will now be tackled by the 20th Congress. Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro criticized Vice President Sara Duterte for allegedly inciting public anger against government. She says such remarks are inappropriate for a vice president. Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon has challenged the Land Transportation Office to issue plates for newly registered vehicles within 3 working days. Before being hospitalized for double pneumonia, Pope Francis faced resistance from some Vatican officials over budget cuts and fundraising efforts to address the Holy See's financial deficit. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on our agenda. Senate President Cheese Escudero has issued a proposed timeline for the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. The Senate's proposed calendar shows that the start of the impeachment trial proper on July 30. But when session resumes on June 2, the articles of impeachment should be presented. That will be followed by the approval of the revised rules of procedure. Escudero said this calendar will have to be approved by his fellow senators. But for now, an all-member caucus is out of the question, as senators are either busy with their re-election campaign or on holiday abroad.
No. It took us this long to be able to do these things again because we are acting on it prudently. We are not rushing, but neither are we delaying. This is not in response to any call or clamor. Ito ang trabaho po namin.
Escudero also instructed Senate offices to prepare for the ouster proceedings.
Para makapaghanda sila at gumawa na rin ng proposed budget kaugnay nun dahil baka may mga unforeseen expenses na kailangan namin paghandaan. Ulitin ko, bahagi ito ng tinatawag nating quote, taking proper order of the subject of impeachment. Hindi pa man nagsisimula ang pre-trial o trial, ay buo na at kompleto na ang paghahanda ng Senado para dito.
Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro slammed Vice President Sara Duterte for allegedly encouraging public anger against the government, saying such remarks should not come from the Vice President. Here's the report.
Malacanang responded to Vice President Sara Duterte's statement that the public can express their anger toward the current administration. The Vice President made this remark during an indignation rally in Cebu recently. However, Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro countered that such statements should not come from the Vice President.
Nakakalungkot po na mula sa pangalawang pinakamataas na leader ng bansa ay mukha pang nag-i-encourage siya sa mga tao na magalit sa gobyerno. Nung nalaman po ito ng Pangulo ay wala po siyang naging reaksyon dito.
Castro questioned why Duterte did not make similar remarks during her father's administration, despite the challenges faced at the time. She pointed out that former President Duterte was once labeled as the most corrupt.
Pero bakit naman ngayon lang? Mas marami naman din pong nangyari nung panahon ng kanyang ama. So parang ang pag-encourage po ba niya na magalit ang tao, meron po ba itong link doon sa sinasabing destabilization? At pinapatungkulan palagi na ang taong bayan ay dapat nang kumilos laban sa gobyerno.
Castro insisted that this is just a step away from inciting sedition. However, it cannot be denied that even President Bongbong Marcos has made strong statements against the Dutertes multiple times, particularly since the campaign period. Castro clarified that the president was merely expressing his thoughts to show that he is not a weak leader.
Karapatan din po ng Pangulo na magsalita kung ano po yung kanyang damdamin. Ito naman din po ay para mapakita sa tao kung ano ba yung katotohanan. Mahirap po na yung isang party lang ang sumusuntok. Kailangan din po tayong sumangga.
As Malacanang statements become more assertive, an old video of Castro resurfaced on social media. The video shows the newly appointed Palace Press Officer appearing visibly upset. However, she explained that the footage dates back to 2015, when she was defending a client who had been arrested without a warrant.
If given a chance to do that again, I will.
Why?
Because I did that for justice.
Don't go away. More Morning Matters to talk about when we return. Welcome back. You're still with us right here on Morning Matters on One News. Malacanang stands by President Marcos's conditions for the removal of the U.S. Typhoon missile launchers. This comes after China reiterated its demand to pull out the mid-range missile system for peace and prosperity. Presidential Communications Undersecretary Claire Castro said Marcos's stance on the issue has not changed. Recall that the president said that he was ready to yield to Beijing's demand if it stops its aggressive behavior in the West Philippine Sea. Meanwhile, Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon has challenged the Land Transportation Office to issue plates for newly registered vehicles within 3 working days. Dizon also urged the LTO to address its backlog of unissued motorcycle plates. According to the Commission on Audit, approximately 9.1 million motorcycle plates remain unissued as of 2023. LTO Chief Attorney Vigor Mendoza II welcomed the challenge. He added that they will meet with car dealers and manufacturers on March 5 to explore additional solutions.
This has been a suggestion coming from them also, no? Sa planta pa lang, ikabit na yung plaka ng motorsiklo. Again, that is what we're moving on now, no? Para mamatugunan namin yung 3-day challenge ni Secretary Vince. And yun ang tutulak namin, no, sa March 5.
The PNP is currently verifying a leaked memorandum alleging that it had instructed officers to downplay the busway controversy. This comes after a police convoy was caught using the busway earlier this week, citing an emergency. The memorandum purportedly outlined an initiative to release materials aimed at minimizing the issue. The PNP maintained that they are committed to the highest level of transparency, accountability, and integrity. In other news, before Pope Francis was hospitalized for double pneumonia, he faced resistance from some Vatican officials over budget cuts and fundraising efforts to address the Holy See's financial deficit. 3 days before his hospitalization, the Pope ordered the creation of a commission on donations for the Holy See to boost contributions. Now, despite implementing cost-saving measures, the Vatican continued to struggle financially. The 2024 financial report showed an 83 million euro deficit, up from 33 million euros in 2022. Pension liabilities, estimated at 631 million euros in 2022, are also a growing concern. The Vatican relies on donations, its investment portfolio, and income from Vatican museums to fund its operations. Now we go back to one of our stories for today, but we'll have that later on. In the meantime, when we return, let's speak with Filipino-American political figure Angela Aquino. Don't go away. Morning Matters will be back. I'm Gretchen Ho, and this is Morning Matters. As we mentioned earlier, we have two power women on the show. We have somebody running for public advocate in New York, Angela Aquino, and now our other special guest is will talk to us about our top story. We have newly appointed Undersecretary Claire Castro, Palace Press Officer, joining us now via Zoom. Welcome to Morning Matters, Usec.
Yes, good morning, Gretchen Ho, and good morning, Filipinas.
All right, in your first few days as Palace Press Officer, your words have not come without a bite. Just to set the tone of this interview, do you represent the President's views when you speak?
Some of them, yes, but some of them are, of course, opinion. As a palace press officer, we have to tell to the people, since that is the order of our president, to tell to the people that we need to distinguish what is fake news and what is the truth.
Well, I asked that question because our top story for today was the Vice President's remarks on Cebu indignation rally, asking people to express their anger towards the government. At sabi po ninyo, nakakalungkot po na mula sa pangalawang pinakamataas na leader ng bansa ay mukha pang nag-encourage siya sa mga tao na magalit sa gobyerno. At sabi po ninyo na ito nga parang bordering baka inciting to sedition. I mean, are you looking at that angle? Is the office of the president looking at that angle with the vice president's remarks?
Actually, when we informed the president of this remarks or comment of the vice president in Cebu, he has no comment on that. He did not make any reaction on that. So what we are talking about now is the reaction on our part, the reaction of the ordinary people. That the vice president, being the second highest leader of the country, should not have said those words, considering that he's a leader, he's part of the government. He should not be encouraging people to get mad or to be furious to the government. He should be the one encouraging them to let's help the government and let's help together to lift up the government and the country.
Okay, so you will not be adding to General Torres' complaint on inciting to sedition and unlawful utterances. He complained about the former president's kill 15 senators' remarks. I mean, you're not going to add anything to that with this latest statement?
Not as of the moment. There is no order from the president. He is to that.
All right. Speaking of orders, you are Palace Press Officer. Tell us all about your role and what is the difference between your role and Secretary Ruiz's role.
Yes, when the president had this position or took his office, this office of the presidential spokesperson was abolished. So definitely, the president wants to be his own spokesperson. He will be speaking for himself. My mandate is just to explain, to expound whatever the pronouncements or directives of the president and of the palace.
Okay. How did this position come to your lap? Because you were also, you are a lawyer and also a radio anchor. Paano po kayo nahikayat na sumali dito sa government ni PBBM?
Actually, Gretch, hindi ako politikong tao eh. So, when they invited me to meet the president, nagulat din naman ako kasi siguro mga 2 weeks hindi pa ako umuoo eh. I did not expect this. So until I talked to the president, we talked personally. I met him. That's the time that he told me that he thinks that I could help the country to tell about the truth. So yun lang naman lagi eh, the truth. Para po yung mga, kung ano man, whatever will be the programs, the projects of the government, yung taong bayan ay makikinabang at malalaman nila. Because sabi nga natin, Gretch, mas maraming fake news ang nangingibabaw kesa doon sa nakikita ng taong bayan kung ano yung naitutulong ng pamahalaan sa kanila. So that's the problem. So that's the mandate now of the president for us to share to the people, to spread the good news and not lies and fake news.
Okay, so your mandate is to curtail fake news. Will you also tackle issues of the past? Or will you be on defensive mode? When we talk about fake news, there are a bunch of issues surrounding the Marcos family. ano po yung mga ina-address po ninyo? I mean, ito lang yung recent during his governance or pati yung mga issues on ill-gotten wealth? I mean, what did the President talk to you about in terms of that mission to address fake news?
Everything, Gretch. Everything. Not only now, of course, but the past, but we have to gather evidence, materials, so that we can give a reasonable response on whatever issues that will come to us.
Eh, syempre alam po natin, medyo malalim po ang kasaysayan ng Marcos family. Kayo po ba ay close to the Marcos family? Kaya kayo po ang napili?
Hindi. Hindi. Sabi ko nga, hindi tayo mapolitika. Ordinaryong tao tayo, Gretch, you know me, nagkita na tayo before. Hindi ako mapolitiko, so hindi ako close kay Pangulo o sa pamilya ng mga Marcos. So nagkataon lang po siguro na naatasan tayo ngayon na magkaroon ng pagkakataon na makatulong sa bayan, sa taong bayan, sa pamamagitan ng pagsasabi para sa mga bagay-bagay para, I mean, and we have to distinguish what is fake news and what is the truth. Kasi sabi nga natin, kapag tayo ay nabubuhay sa kasinungalingan, ay madilim ang mundo natin.
Okay, but also, you are a lawyer and you know about all the controversies surrounding the Marcos family. How do you, seek the truth when it comes to that? Will you be the voice of the president here, or will you also, try to dig a little bit deeper to understand the different perspectives on those issues to be able to actually bring out the truth? Because when we talk about truth, it does require a deeper investigation into the facts surrounding it and also those who challenge the assertions. So paano niyo po ipapursue po yung pagtatanggol sa katotohanan?
Well, we have to get all the documents, all the materials, all the facts from the courts. I believe all the issues surrounding that are already part of the court records. Then the court itself, the court records will tell the truth. That's it.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify, do you replace Daphne Osenia Paez because she was the former palace press briefer? So you have a similar title but naiba lang po doon sa officer. So do you also take her position?
I'm not really sure because if you can see the previous press briefing, it's kind of quite different from what I am doing now.
Ano po yung pagkakaiba?
Maybe I am here to explain, to expound some of the pronouncements or directives of the office of the president. I don't think if Daphne is doing that because whenever she would appear, I believe there will be cabinet members with her to explain. So as of now, I'm not doing that.
Okay. So does your hiring signify a change in tune of this Marcos government? Because the strategy before of the Marcos administration was a little bit more non-confrontational. Kumbaga, unity nga ang slogan ni PBBM. Pero kayo po, diretso niyo pong sinasagot yung mga issue. Do we take this to mean a change of tune?
Well, Gretch, what I am tasked is just to answer, to make a response to the issues that will ruin or damage the reputation of the government, of the office of the president. Issues that we know have no evidence, have no basis. Well, if they're just telling the truth, we can do anything about that because that's the truth. But if they are spreading fake news, then that's the time that I have to come in and tell the people that that's fake. That's fake news.
What were the most alarming issues that spurred your appointment? We talk about, fake news and you seem to be the symbol of this administration's anger towards fake news. So ano po yung mga issues na yon that are top of the list?
Well, at the time that I came into the position, first, the question is about the president, the PBBM is gearing towards dictatorship, that he has this propensity to declare martial law. So they are all fake news. There's no evidence. There's no even a trace or sign to show that. They are all intrigues. So we have to tell that these issues are fake news because there are even no sign to show that PBBM is gearing towards dictatorship or he has the tendency to declare martial law.
One thing you also talked about was the
Another one is the
impeachment. Oh,
gold
go ahead.
reserve. And
All
another
right.
one, Gretch, is the gold reserves. That's that's too flimsy on the part of former president to tell that, considering that he is a former president. He should have known that about the gold reserve selling of the gold by BSP. He should have known that.
Okay, and you are referring to the selling of the BSP of the gold at a high rate, which you explained is part of trading gold. It is part of their mandate. But you also spoke about impeachment, and you said that the president is totally independent from this initiative and that he won't declare a special session or call for a special session because it puts him in an awkward spot. But how can the president deny his involvement here if his own son was the first to sign the fourth impeachment complaint and his cousin was the last to sign? I mean, how can he say that this is clean of his influence?
Yes, his son has his own mind. He has his own independence. If he signed that impeachment complaint, maybe he believes that there are grounds for the impeachment of or for the conviction of VP Sara, as well as his cousin, a speaker.
Pero parang imposible naman po na hindi ito na pag-uusapan bago pipirmahan. Dahil alam natin sa politika, kailangan natin yung isa't isa para to get the numbers. I mean, because the pundits are saying it's impossible that the president did not have his hands on this.
Yes, pasin natin sa balita, Gretch, sinabi naman niya na nag-usap sila ng kanyang anak. At ito'y pinaalam. At sinabi niya, do your job, do whatever you think is good. So, hindi natin pwede pakialaman kasi pag pinigilan mo yan, at independent na yan, at congressman na yung kanyang anak. Maybe sinabi, ipinaalam, pero hindi para humingi ng basbas kung pipirma ba siya o hindi.
Okay, mukhang nagpapasahan po ngayon ng baso, nagtuturoan. The palace says it will not call for a special session. The Senate President says he would rather have the impeachment trial right after the SONA, and he even gave a timeline of that happening by July 30. With all of these declarations, I mean, does this mean that the impeachment trial will not at all happen in the next months? It will only happen after the State of the Nation address of the President?
Well, it depends upon the Senate. Again, the President has no hand. He could not even interfere with the task of the Senate because of the separation of powers. So it's up to the Senate when they will start the impeachment trial. I think Senate President has already his own timeline.
All right. You were described by some critics as hysterical. Actually, medyo may mga video na umiikot online eh. But let me just put up that video and play it a little bit. Can you tell us what happened in this video?
2015. That was 2015.
This was in the DZMM radio booth, right? So
Yes.
what happened there?
No. It's in this women's desk. WPD.
Okay.
Yes. I had this client who was kind of framed up. He was not doing any crime. He was in SM San Lazaro, drinking his coffee while waiting for the mother of his son. They were about to go to the psychologist for the son because the woman, the mother left the child with the driver. Upon knowing that, because the school called my client, he immediately went to the house and got his son. Because he was just left, a minor child left with the driver. What would the father feel? The mother did not even inform him that he would be going out of the country. She is a flight stewardess, so you can feel the feeling of the father in knowing when he was informed by the school that the child was not going to the school, was not attending his classes. And after that, when the mother arrived from abroad, she wanted to meet my client, and then my client said, yes, we have to meet, we could meet at SM. And after that, without knowing, there were police officers in civilian clothes, and he was dragged without informing him of what the case was. And when I came into to the said WPD, I wasn't also even informed of the said complaint. We were told that it's confidential. How come it could be confidential when I was the counsel? So after that, I was able to talk to the official higher than these police officers, and I said there was no warrant of arrest. There was no complaint. So how could it be? Then I heard those people, some of them are police officers, they were shouting, ikulong mo na yan, referring to me. So that's my response. Bakit ikulong mo ako? Anong kasalanan ko? Ikulong mo ako? Ipagtanggol ko ang kliyente ko? Kasalanan? Something to that effect. So again, I said, if that would happen again to my client, I would do the same. And that's for justice. I have to fight for the rights.
And are you willing to go this far for the president now that you are palace press officer?
If he will be abused, if his rights will be violated, I will.
But what do you have to say about the accusations that this family has also used or benefited from false narratives to be able to bring their family back into power from what happened during Marcos Sr. days?
Were they the one who told that false narratives? If they were not the one, then those false narratives are not their fault.
Okay, so now from this point on, are we expecting a response all the time from the Marcos administration, having you at the forefront? And yun nga po kayo po ay na-describe as hysterical, some as aggressive. I mean, what do you have to say to all of that, and what can we expect from Malacanang from this point on?
Well, we promised to the Malacanang Press Corps that as much as we can, we will be holding press briefing every day, as much as we can. So we can expect immediate response from the Office of the President, from the Palace, about some issues that needs to be cleared up.
All right, looks like your role is very clear here. Thank you so much for explaining all of that today. Congratulations and all the best in your new duty as Palace Press Officer. We have Undersecretary Claire Castro joining us on Morning Matters today. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
And when we return, let's speak with Filipino-American political figure Angela Aquino. Don't go away. Morning Matters will be back. I'm Gretchen Ho, and this is Morning Matters. To end our Friday and to end our February, we are now accompanied by a power woman, another power woman from New York. She is a Filipino American political figure, Angela Aquino. She is running for public advocate in New York City, and she joins us today to tell us all about her interesting story. Welcome to Morning Matters.
Thank you, Gretchen, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here at Morning Matters.
I guess my first question is, you are a Filipino.
Yes, I am.
You are running for public advocate, which is the equivalent of vice mayor of New York City. Are you allowed to do that?
I am an American citizen now. So I have been, I have my American citizenship now. So although
that's all that's required to run for public office.
You have to at least have 7 years to be American citizen, which I'm above 7 years.
Okay, so
yeah.
So what brings you to politics? I mean, tell us all about your body of work and what led you to this moment that you decided to say to yourself that I'm going to run, because I believe this came before the offer of former Governor Andrew Cuomo to have you as a running mate. So it was a personal decision on your part.
Yes. So what really led me to run for public office, for public advocate, is basically my life experience. I have been an advocate for almost 2 decades. I am also instrumental on our landmark case, Aquino versus Aquino, wherein we struck down a 300-year-old law, and we were able to get rights for children born out of wedlock here in the Philippines, which is now 70%. So we won a unanimous decision en banc, and we changed a lot of lives. And from that, from that achievement, I felt like I'm humbled to be able to pay it forward and to serve and use my experience in public service. Public advocate is a very special position. It's the least political, least partisan of all the positions in public office. And just being a lifelong advocate, I know that I have the ingredients to be able to serve those who are marginalized.
But why not here? Why in New York?
Because I'm a New Yorker.
You had that case here in the Philippines.
Yes.
That means you were coming back and forth to
Correct.
the country, right?
So to simply put, I basically exiled in New York, and I became American because of this. I got this inherited, so I had to somewhat, make up for that loss, and I had to go to New York, just like a lot of people who are sometimes suffering from their homeland. They go somewhere and they try to make up a second chance or make up a life there. So I became an American, and I do have a son who is Jewish descent, and we're all based in New York, so we're definitely New Yorkers. And right now, the New York City is also home for many, many immigrants, and my representation in public office speaks a lot of what the opportunity has for New Yorkers who's willing to go through the system properly. The option of being a part of something very special and very important is available. So, so that's why. I think my presence, being a candidate, I'm actually the first Filipino to ever run in a citywide race. So meaning all 5 boroughs.
Kasi may mga tumakbo noon na Pilipino, pero anong posisyon yun? I remember in another state, may tumakbong Pilipino eh.
I think mayor.
Oh, mayor.
Also.
Pero kayo yung
in Hawaii, I think.
first full-blooded Filipino.
Yes.
Oo, kasi dito sa Pilipinas, alam ko kailangan natural born, no? In the US, you just have to be a citizen.
Correct.
Iba ang kanilang
So yes, actually, that is now what we're trying to, to be able to be well represented, right? Right now, especially, they're trying to find immigrants also who are able to represent. It's very important that they have the right representation, meaning who went through, difficulties, who had to fix their papers, who knows how the discrepancies between the salaries of a minority and somebody who's not going through the system properly is very important. My contribution on my past and what I had to go through to become legal to become an American and to make the system and work for the system and contribute to America is important.
Well, you've been described as a conservative Republican, and as you were talking about your stance on immigration, I do remember some of the debates we've had over whether this Trump administration will kick out Filipinos. At ang sinasabi sa atin ng ambassador, na kapag legal naman yung papeles mo, ay wala naman mangyayari sa'yo. Sinabi pa nga niya, pag hindi ka nag-commit ng crime and you stay low, you probably be fine, and then we'll work on your papers dahan-dahan. We also had some tell us that there are Filipinos who don't like the way the other immigrants have come in, illegally. So, do you mirror President Trump's stance on immigration? Where are you on that?
So it's very important we don't mix everything up and classify all immigrants one and the same, such as being criminals or someone who is illegal. First of all, okay, so there's a difference. The asylum seekers came through the borders through a sanctuary policy, meaning they were not vetted, they were not screened. They don't. People receiving them in the other end don't know who these people are. So right now, we'll discuss the asylum seekers first. There are about 300 children, right, lost right now who came in who came into America through the sanctuary, using the sanctuary policies. They're missing, right? So they're missing. They claim that these kids were unaccompanied crossing the border. Do you believe that children come across the border unaccompanied? That doesn't make sense. Are they able to survive 60 days? So simply put, they are trafficked in by professional, organized criminals. So that is why we need to be able to protect that we are not used, that America is not used as a basket catcher for being trafficked, these children being trafficked. So we have to protect that system and these children so that they don't have to experience all this brutality as they try to seek for a better life. Right?
So would you let these children in to the United States?
I would, if they're already in, I would make sure that these children, first and foremost, are safe, right? From the cartels that brought them in. So we want to make sure that they're not used in any shape or form and abused once they come to America. The problem is, when they get here, they already went through so much. In 60 days of travel, being smuggled in by cartels. What do you think is happening to them in those travels? So we cannot be an option, or America cannot be an option to that. So that is why, when it comes to this...
But I believe they're also trying to escape the culture of violence over down south, right? That's why they're heading to America to seek for a better life, and in the process of denying that, where do they go?
There's a way of doing things properly. If in the process of being safe, you're putting yourself in danger, Gretchen, we have to weigh. You want to escape just to be in danger again while you're way on traveling here. And then when you're here, the kids are missing. And this is not something that is Googled. I speak to people working in asylum shelters, and this is the actual report. So we have to think there are other ways on where we can help these children suffering in those countries wherein they don't have to risk themselves exposing or selling themselves to cartels. Right? So it's very important.
What is the alternative? So what do you do with the children then?
Well, we have to explore this option. Right now, we can send help. We can help. We can send troops if it is a high conflict, and American can send different kinds of help that they don't have to risk themselves and keep them safe in those areas. If indeed their lives are in danger there, and America sees that it makes sense to help these people, they can stay there and we can come in and help them. And it's not the first time we're going to do that. We always come in and extend and help and come to a country and send help.
What is the situation of Filipinos in New York? I mean, after all the policies of President Trump, kamusta mga Pilipino?
So this is a very, very special. topic. That's why we have to learn how to separate it. Filipinos have no track records there of being criminals or cartels, or that this is not what we're talking about. Filipinos are known there to be very good workers, very loving, very caring. We are known, during COVID, Filipino nurses gave up so many lives in New York City.
I think there's a
So-
range of about 300,000 illegal immigrants from our own country in the United States. That's what I remember. But in New York, do we have a lot of that? Those Filipinos, they're working there without documents, and what happens to them now?
So for my advocacy, we did take a good look at this. I think that the Filipinos, if they're willing to go through the system of being legal and having their a pathway towards legal citizenship and being an American, we should be able to provide a path of them. They're not criminals. Actually, as a matter of fact, they have contributed so many things. We are entrusted by their elderly. We are entrusted by their children, with their children's. So I think that we are very trustworthy. That gesture alone says that we are kind. I don't think President Trump has any objection with helping Filipinos, especially given the good track record of Filipinos. And so is true with other immigrants who's providing and very contributing very well to the American economy and society.
Okay. Have you said yes to former Governor Andrew Cuomo? Former Governor Andrew Cuomo is a Democrat and you are a Republican. Why do you think were you the choice? And how did this partnership come together? So is it confirmed already?
So though that time that the camp of Andrew Cuomo reached out, though it is true, I was a Republican. I am now currently a registered Democrat. So yeah, so we during the last day of that we can file our party affiliation, we switched. So this is, yeah, I know you're surprised, but this is
What made you make the jump?
On the last day, I was approached by Democrats, and we weighed the options on why I should run as a Democrat. I think what really drew me closer was the group of single moms and the group of domestic violence survivors who were going to vote during the primaries as Democrats. They were there, the people, and they asked me to join so they can vote and they can choose somebody who is a Democrat, who really spoke and stood up for them. And they said, so the single moms and the domestic violence really did a big part because this is who I really want to help.
But you were described earlier as a conservative Republican. So paano yun? How do we make that distinction? And I also read that, you kind of mirror those disillusioned with progressive governance. Is that correct?
No, so first of all, I think right now, there's no time for partisanship. There's no rule that Democrats and Republicans cannot work together. I think as a matter of fact, this now is the moment that we really need to work together and put those partisanship labeling aside, because this is not just partisan issue. This is a real life humanitarian issue, and we have to overlook whatever party affiliation we were, but what matters is the now and how we're gonna move forward, and the values that we bring and how we're able to bring that to the table so that everybody can benefit from it.
Okay, so have you said yes to Andrew Cuomo?
I reached out personally to Governor Cuomo and I thanked him for the opportunity.
Paano ba kayo napili?
So they gave me a call. And then said, how's your campaign? And I said, thank you, very good. And said, we're from the camp of Governor Cuomo. Would you like to join the slate? And then they said, you seem nice. And that's how, it was just a very casual call. I don't know how they picked me.
Okay, let's go into your role. Let's dive in a little deeper to that. You are running for public advocate. For Filipinos, hindi po natin maintindihan yan kasi parang mukha kang nag-advocate lang for something.
Okay.
But what does it really mean when you put that word in public office?
So a public advocate basically represents and makes sure that there is equality, that there is accessibility for residents, New York residents, right? So we advocate for the marginalized when it comes to housing, healthcare. So disabled, special needs, housing, social services, special, we say yung medyo na dehado sa buhay. Yun. So we're very, dehado meaning, we're a little bit the underdogs, right? So that's our job, to advocate so that their needs and priorities can be heard.
In sessions, so you represent them in short.
Correct. So I'm able to introduce legislations. I also serve as an ombudsman. If there is a government sector that is not functioning well, for let's say example, kids with special needs, they're not the autistic children, they're not getting the services that they need over at some community in Queens because there's not enough budget. So I will call attention to this and have an investigation and make recommendations.
And what for you are the top 3 problems of New York City that you can easily find yourself addressing, or what would you like to address as the top 3?
A top 3, I think the no bail law. So right now we have an uptick because of this no bail law, wherein criminals are caught but then they're released. So that doesn't make sense. And then because they're allowed, they're released for certain reasons, like simply because they can't afford bail, so they just let them go. That causes like some kind of just doing things all over again. They're caught and they're after their targets again. So that's one thing I want to be able to make amendments on that. Number 2, it would be like the corruption that's going on. We want to make sure, as a public advocate, it's also my job parang to be an ombudsman. So I want to make sure that the budget is efficient and going to where it's supposed to go, because if it does, then it will change the lives of others. Also as a single mom, I want to be able to work on vouchers for private schools and for religious schools, as well as after schools.
Okay. It seems to be a tall order, what you're running for as ombudsman, watchdog, chief complaint officer, chief public advocate. Where are you getting your political capital and political backing?
Well, for public advocate, it's very important that it's grassroots, right? So we do fundraising based on like citizens and residents of New York City. It's going to be very grassroots, and we also have to think that we have to be very creative as per how we present our platform. And so a lot of collaborations.
Meron na ba kayong slogan ni Andrew Cuomo? Kasi nga, he's a Democrat. You were a former Republican, now you're a Democrat. I mean, meron na ba kayong naisip to put 2 and 2 together?
Right now, no.
Wala pa. But we're in the early stages.
Very early stages. And, but I do believe that this has a lot to do with the domestic violence survivors, and as well as the single moms. And this is what a lot of our grassroots campaigns are coming from. And this is where a lot of our volunteers are coming from.
But,
and that's the support.
I believe former Governor Cuomo also has issues on sexual harassment in the past. How do you reconcile that? You said you are a domestic violence survivor, and he had his own controversies. Did you sort that out first before saying yes to him?
I read the issue, and basically a lot there was some allegations which eventually was withdrawn. So this was his that was basically the summary of it. And before moving forward, I actually spoke to some domestic violence survivors and the single moms. So listen, if his experience and his comeback and his, if he's making a comeback, I believe he wants to really make it right and gain that political and the trust of the public. I think this would be a wonderful opportunity for him, in contrast to those allegations from women. I think this is a great opposite, helping out single moms and domestic violence survivors.
So you're there to push that forward.
Yes,
Okay.
for them.
How about for the Filipino community? This is a great opportunity if you do win to represent. Have you thought of legislation to help the Filipinos in New York?
I think the top priority there would be the immigration. I want to be able to advocate and lobby and present the case to President Trump that the Filipinos and all the good contributions that they have given to this society and appeal that they are able to be given an opportunity to stay in America and a pathway for legal citizenship. I think that we have to create a balance on what's happening, and we have to choose good, vetted New York City residents and good immigrants who are contributing, and that's who we choose to become a part of the American.
Could you tell us a little bit more about demographic of Filipinos in New York? I mean, anong trabaho nila? Ano yung age range? Where do they live? I mean, sino yung mga Pilipino na mamalagi doon?
So it's a very diverse, it's a very diverse Filipino. So we meet them. There's doctors. A lot of us are in healthcare, and this is one very big focus now because we have baby boomers who's going to get into becoming senior citizens, and Filipinos are very well known in being very good in taking care of the elderly, and just being there prolongs the life of the elderly. So for New Yorkers who want their parents to live longer, they only trust the Filipinos.
Filipino nangangalaga
yes.
sa kanila.
And for the New Yorkers who will only also just trust.
Could you sense a sense of panic sa mga Pilipino because of the Trump administration, or is it the other way around that the Filipino community? I mean, you already said that it is a very diverse population, but with you going around, what is your sense and of the acceptance of the Trump administration's policies?
So first of all, we have to be clear that President Trump is in the federal level. So whatever he says will pretty much be it because the federal overlooks the local. So it is very important what President Trump's position is based on that. What we have to do is to be able to advocate that President Trump, can you please work on it so that good immigrants and good New York residents are able to have a pathway. We have to advocate.
Has he shown openness to that?
Yes. In his recent interviews, it's all about, who we want to be in this country. And this is definitely something that is a writing on the wall.
Well, another thing that's controversial with President Trump coming in is him stopping foreign aid. Although he has exempted military aid to the Philippines, maraming naapektuhan, katulad yung tulong ng US aid sa education sector ng Pilipinas, tulong nila sa health sector, even women's rights. Like it or not, we do get a lot of funding from the United States. I mean, do you think that was the right move? I mean, to cut off foreign aid?
So as you have probably been monitoring, foreign aid that was cut off were the ones that appear to be wrapped in corruption. So we also have to say, we can't just be like, hey, you stopped it. We also have to take a look on these recipients, if indeed the correct recipients and the right it's going to the right beneficiaries. So if it has been flagged, we also have to explore, oh wait, maybe they were pocketing it. That's why it's been, or like, as you know, that there were like, things that were very questionable. Like, so I think right now this pause should just be a reassessment of where it's really going to, if it's up to par with the proper values, or if it's going to correctly to the proper recipients.
Oh, we hope it's just a pause, as there are those whose lives depend on it. Where do we find you and your campaign? Do you want to follow you?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. My name's Angela Aquino, NYC, and I'm available, and my information is available for on New York City Campaign Board. You can find my profile there, and I am also for Angela for NYC. That's my website, and you can send us a message.
We have New York City Public Advocate candidate Angela Aquino, who is also doing her own candidacy in the time of the midterm campaigning here in the Philippines. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from the United States. And that's it for today's episode of Morning Matters. My name is Gretchen Ho. Happy weekend. We are One News, all sides, all the time.